Good morning and welcome to chapel. Welcome back to the main hall. This may be the most beautiful chapel to have ever chapeled in the history of chapels, so tell your friends. We're going to be in here on Friday, and I think it's still going to be pretty all next week too. So if you ever needed an incentive to come to chapel, or if your friends need an incentive to come to chapel, tell them that they get to come and have chapel in a magical, enchanted forest. And if we could keep this all year round, folks, I would love it. Friends, know that this is your space to take a pause in your day and to tend to your spirit. You are welcome here, whoever you are, just as you are. A special welcome today to those watching on our live stream. And if you think about it while you're watching, go ahead and click that red subscribe button. That helps us and helps you know about all of our services as they come. For those in the space, as you entered today, hopefully you picked up a red hymnal. This is all that you need to participate in worship today. Our chapel speaker today is Professor Gereon Kopf, and we are grateful for you and your words today. We're grateful for college organist Gregory Peterson for leading our music this morning, although I have to say, you're really far away from me right now, and I did kind of like it in the recital hall when I could see you. But we're grateful to be in this space and grateful to be singing and learning and exploring together today. We are in the season of Advent, this time of watching and waiting, and so in these next couple of weeks, there are a number of special opportunities during the season. This Sunday morning at 10 o'clock is our first ever, but we hope annual, jazz lessons and carols service in the Noble Recital Hall in the Music Building. It'll be a really fun spin on your usual lessons and carols service, and I can vouch for the fact that the music will be spectacular. So 10 o'clock Sunday morning, please do join us. You're also invited to join in Wednesday afternoon prayer walks through the rest of this semester, so today, next week, and even during finals week. 4:30 p.m. we'll meet in the CFL lobby, share a prayer prompt, and then you'll be invited to take a short walk inside or outside, and it is gorgeous today. A great way to spend about 20 minutes in prayer and reflection in your day. Friday chapel this week will be a service of Advent songs and readings, so we will come back to this lovely space and reflect and sing together. And then coming up next week is our Kwanzaa chapel service and our annual Candlelight evening worship service. You don't have to remember any of this because we printed off a handy-dandy list of special events for Advent and Christmas, so grab one of these on your way out if you don't have one, and it'll tell you all that you need to know about everything college ministries-wise happening through Advent and Christmas season. Again, welcome and blessings as we gather today. Let us join in worship. I invite you to stand. Blessed be the God who creates, redeems, and sustains us and all of creation, who draws out the stars at night and awakens the dawn each new day. Let us greet God's new day and let our hearts sing for joy. We sing together our opening hymn, which is number 247, Come Now, O Prince of Peace, number 247.
Reading from the book of Ecclesiastes. Meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher, utterly meaningless, everything is meaningless. What do people gain from all their labors at which they toil under the sun? Generations come, generations go, but the earth remains forever. The sun rises, the sun sets, and hurries back to where it rises. The wind blows to the south and turns to the north, round and round it goes. Ever returning on its course, all streams flow into the sea. Yet the sea is never full. To the place the stream comes from, and they return again. All things are wearisome, more than one can say. The eye never has enough of seeing, nor the ear its fill of hearing. What has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. Is there anything of which one can say, look, there is something new? It was here already long ago. It was here before our time. No one remembers the former generations, and even those yet to come will not be remembered by those who follow them. The word of the Lord. Good morning. Today's reading from the book of Ecclesiastes is very compelling. And while, as Storm Bailey has pointed out to me, the English term meaningless might be misleading, the text nevertheless expresses a couple of common and commonly shared experiences and resonates with, I assume, many of us. The experience that times seems to be slipping away, whether it is the approaching end of the semester, the end of the year, or the end of one's life. The sense that we did not accomplish what we intended. The annual ritual of futile New Year's resolution, futile since most of us hardly seem to be able to follow through on them. Those are examples of this transiency and leads me to the second experience, the experience of patterns, whether they are behavioral patterns, historical patterns, the annual cycle, or the parent-child relationship complexes endlessly rehearsed in Hollywood movies. They are all repeating themselves. I am not talking about déjà vu experiences, but the sense that we turn in cycles and that we are doomed to enact what Friedrich Nietzsche called the eternal return. Finally, there's the experience of drifting into the shadows of memory, into the darkness of being forgotten. While institutions like Luther College celebrate the retirement of long-time employees, there is the nagging sense that we will be forgotten shortly after we walk through the door, if not already before the day of our departure. This fear of being forgotten often translates into and is exacerbated by the fear of dying, the fear that within a generation, or probably less, we and our accomplishments will be forgotten. Thus we strive endlessly, tirelessly, to build our own metaphorical or literal mausoleum, a site of commemoration, to make sure we will not be forgotten. These metaphysical mausoleums include buildings with our names on it, for those who can afford it, books, or any kind of legacy. We hope that people in the coming generations will remember us. I'm sure many of us had one or all three of those experiences. These three experiences constitute the fundamental themes in today's reading: transiency, repetition, and remembrance. The striving for permanent uniqueness and a lasting legacy, on the other hand, today's reading calls futile. Impermanence is a central concept in Buddhist thought. It is one of the three characteristics of reality, together with selflessness and suffering. Reality, so the early Buddhist scriptures, is impermanent and without identifiable essences. Any attachment to particular experience, times, persons, goals, possessions will inevitably lead to suffering. Impermanence also constitutes a pervasive theme in Japanese literature and art. The two key terms used in Japanese aesthetics, wabi and sabi, literally shabbiness and loneliness, evoke the sense of transiency and melancholy. A text from the medieval period in Japan, the Tale of Heike, illustrates this sense of transiency efficiently and in a powerful way. The 600-page opus starts with the bell in the monastery garden rings, preaching everything changes constantly. The flowers of the temple turned white on the day Buddha died, telling people that any powerful person will lose their power one day. Even an egoistic person will not stay like that forever. Life is a mere dream in a spring night. No matter how powerful one might be, we will die one day. Human life is just like that, a dust blown by the wind. This fate of transiency and ultimately death does not spare anyone, not even the powerful. The text that I just read also echoes chapter 3 and verse 20 of the book of Ecclesiastes. All go to the same place, all come from dust, all will return to dust. This inevitability of our demise strikes fear in the heart of many of us, but especially those who deem themselves important and irreplaceable. The Tale of Heike plays out this theme rather impressively. It is the story of a general, Taira Kiyomori, his rise to power, his incredibly painful death, and destruction of his family. The story starts and ends in a monastery, suggesting an alternative lifestyle to the pursuit of power and glory. This sentiment that, in the words of George Harrison, all things must pass, or that even the powerful will face the demise, that all things return to dust, are some of the patterns that the book of Ecclesiastes refers to. Death is nothing special, neither is the fear of death, the fear to be forgotten. The Ming Dynasty novel, The Romance of the Three Kingdoms, famously opens its fictionalized account of the so-called Three Kingdom period with the observation that the world under heaven, after a long period of division, tends to unite, after a long period of union, tends to divide. This has been so since antiquity. Then the book proceeds to illustrate the circularity by giving the reader a crash course in Chinese history, proving the rise and the fall of every dynasty. This strong sense of repetition adds to the fear of being forgotten. If there is nothing unique about my experiences, my ideas, even my fears, then who will remember me, who will care to remember me? In the first chapter of the Tale of Heike, one can find another seemingly unimportant story about two dancers at that general's court. An older dancer is replaced by a younger dancer. To avoid humiliation, the older dancer joins the monastery. A short time later, the younger dancer visits her, knowing well that she will face the same fate in not such a far future. The fate and insight is articulated in a hauntingly beautiful poem. Moisuru mo karuru mo nachi nobe no kusa isureka akini abade hatsubeki. Since both are grasses on the field, how may either be spared by the autumn? The young shoot blossoming forth, and the herb fading from the view. So how do we encounter this power of transiency, the circularity of patterns, the repetition of patterns? How do we counter the fear of being forgotten? I would like to suggest two strategies. The first one is to accept the ambiguity of life. We love clear-cut matters, yes or no. Ambiguity is scary, but it comprises our predicament. A medieval Japanese thinker explains, a stick of firewood once reduced to ashes cannot once again revert to being a stick of firewood. Nevertheless, you should not hold on to the opinion that the ashes are the future of that which the stick was the past. What you need to understand is that when firewood is persisting in the physical state of being firewood, there will be a before and there will be an after. While ashes persist in the physical state of being ashes, they will have, although there is a before and after, there is a now which is cut off from the before and after. And now, while ashes persist in the physical state of being ashes, they will have their after and their before. The same reasoning applies to winter and spring, death and birth, night and day. This insight that all we have is the present does not suggest a carpe diem mentality, but rather an awareness of the here and now. The present is infinitely small, ever elusive, momentary, yet it is all we have. We always live and only live in the present. It is simultaneously ever evasive and never ending. Not only do we live in the present, we recover the past in the present. We intend and anticipate the future in the present. Memories are present. Intentions are present. This is the ambiguity of our existence. We can deny it, but we cannot escape it. Japanese art forms such as calligraphy, poetry, and tea ceremony try to capture this ambiguity of our fleeting existence that is elusive and exhaustive at the same time. Those art forms express the melancholy of these fleeting moments that is best expressed in the Japanese saying, ichigo ichie, one time, one meeting. Since the moment will never return, we experience it fully now, without being distracted by what has gone, by what may come. And this brings me to the second strategy, the duty to remember. One fascinating Buddhist story tells that as a prerequisite for his awakening, Buddha remembered all his past lives, as well as the past lives of all sentient beings. The story is not about reincarnation, the story is about memory. The Japanese philosopher Sueki argues that memory and the encounter with the dead is the foundation of being human. His view reverberates the ancient Latin adage, mortui vivos docent, the dead teach the living. But it adds an important aspect. The memory of those who preceded us constitutes the foundation of our humanity. In the same sense, the memory of us will ground the humanity of those who succeed us. Yet this requires a leap of faith that those who will follow us will indeed remember us as those who preceded us put their trust in our memory. This is the fundamental ambiguity of our existence. The departed live in us, in our memories, in our lives. We decide as individuals, as communities, as humanity, what is important to us, who is important to us, and ultimately who we are. Not only the powerful can and will fall, their statues and mausoleums that commemorate them are transient as well. They depend on our communal memory. Our memory is inherently moral in the same way in which our choices of what we read and whom we spend time with express who we are. In the same way, whom we remember and how we remember those people and whom we choose to forget expresses who we are. In those memories lies who we are as individuals, as communities, as humanity. I would like to end with the words of Roger Waters. All that you touch, all that you see, all that you taste, all that you feel, all that you love and all that you hate, all you distrust, all you save, and all that you give, and all that you deal, and all that you buy, beg, borrow, or steal, all you create and all you destroy, all that you do and all that you say, all that you eat and everyone you meet, and all that you slight and everyone you fight, and all that is now and all that is gone and all that's to come, and everything under the sun is in tune, and the sun is eclipsed by the moon. Amen.
I invite you to stand as we join in our closing hymn, number 256, Comfort, Comfort Now My People, 256, and we'll sing verses 1 and 3. Dear ones, there may be nothing new under the sun, but take comfort and take hope. The sun will yet rise. Today is yet here as a gift. May God bless you with eyes and ears and a heart open to what today offers, and a long memory to take today into all of your next days. Go in peace. The dawn always draws near. Thanks be to God.